Ooh. I was gonna keep my glasses on, but they seem to be polarized right now, so I'm not gonna wear those. Hi poets, I'm Kaye Spivey, and today I'm gonna do a haul! I'm gonna do a poetry book haul for you today. Recently I have been buying a few poetry books and I really wanted to go over the ones that I've got so far. So we'll go ahead and get started. So the first book I have here is Milk and Honey by Rupi Kaur. This one is one that people have on, everybody has on their poetry list. This one is incredibly popular. And I've actually already read this one. This is the only one in this haul that I've read so far. I would recommend sitting down and reading it in one go, or at least reading the sections in one go. There's 4 sections: the hurting, the loving, the breaking, and the healing. It's fairly narrative. They're very, very short poems. Actually, a couple of these I had seen on the internet already, and I thought they were like quotes out of poems when I initially found them, and it turns out they are the entire poem. Some of them, there's also drawings in here, but you can see they're very, very short, and so it's very easy to read through the sections very quickly. But there's also a narrative structure. There's a lot of dealing with abuse, and so it is very hard to read some sections. I teared up towards the end, certainly, but I can see why it's so popular. It's maybe not the type of poem I normally read. You can check out my video on unpopular opinions on what I think about what I call quote poems. I don't know that these shorter poems necessarily on their own stand out or do the things that poetry I think is capable of. However, as an entire narrative, as a book, this is phenomenal, and I do highly recommend it. Similar to that, this one, okay, I had heard initially people comparing these books and saying that they were fairly similar, and this one is The Princess Saves Herself in this one by Amanda Lovelace. And maybe people were just talking about the covers both being black and white and simple, but first I was hearing that they're very similar books, and then I was hearing some very polarizing opinions where people liked one and did not like the other, felt very strongly that one was better than the other, and then I was reading a whole bunch of like hate towards Amanda Lovelace, which doesn't seem fair. But I mostly got this one because I had read Milk and Honey, and I couldn't find a straight, like I had been under the impression that they were similar, and then it just seemed super polarizing. So I'm gonna read it and then give my opinion, I guess. Maybe I'll do a video and tell you guys what I thought comparing those ones. The back is cute too. The story of a princess turned damsel turned queen. So hopefully this one turns out being very empowering. That's sort of what my impression was from it. It's also much shorter poems. I anticipate I'm going to read it in one go. It does have a lot of sort of form poems, which I'm not really a fan of. Let me talk briefly about form poems. Form poems can be cool and cute, but I'm not a fan of, blackout poetry, even though I have read some really good blackout poetry. It's kind of like with prose poems. I just feel like for me poetry is the language that you use, although I guess there is an art form into making an image out of something as well. More unpopular opinions, but I'm sure gonna give this book a try, and then I'll let you guys know what I think about it. The next book on this list is by Sarah Kaye, No Matter the Wreckage, which I think has been on everybody's book list also. Everyone getting poetry collections has to have a Sarah Kaye book. I realized I didn't have one, and so I went ahead and bought it, and now I'm really interested to try reading her poetry because she's such a powerful spoken word poet. I absolutely love every single spoken word poem that I've heard her read. She's just very powerful on stage. I don't think I haven't laughed and cried through anything I've seen her do. She's just really good performer, and sometimes performance type poetry doesn't translate well over to reading on the page. So I'm interested to see how hers does, because sometimes a performer is so good that you can get away with some things in spoken word poetry, which I also talk about in my unpopular opinions video. I'm just really interested to see if her poetry also translates down on the page. So I'm very excited. It looks good. Everything looks really good inside. I'm so excited for it. Okay, next is, I've talked a lot about Elizabeth McNamara in other books because I really, really enjoyed her first book, Drumbeat for the Mending. One of the most beautiful covers, and just a really mature, lovely book that I was shockingly in love with. I really enjoyed it. And so I got her next book, Pieces of the Dawn. And the back is cute too. It says, "From darkness to light." And I'll go ahead and read the back blurb to you. "Life is hard, even for those who try to look on the bright side. Sometimes it's hard to tell the difference between the silver linings and sharpened steel. In this collection of poetry, Elizabeth McNamara calls out the skeletons in our closet and invites them to dance. In poems taking us from the bottom of the ocean's cold to somewhere in the heart of a brand new star, with a gentle, honest voice and quiet strength, Pieces of Dawn carries you from sundown to morning light and holds your hand every step of the way." That sounds lovely. It's a beautiful cover, and I really loved Drumbeat for the Mending, so I'm really looking forward to Pieces of Dawn as well. And I believe she self-publishes. So this is the first one of this group that's self-published. No, The Princess Saves Herself in this one is also self-published. So 3 out of 4 of the books that I got were actually self-published books. So congratulations to those poets for self-publishing. The last one is by Cecily Klingenberg. And this is another that I really loved her first collection. Before I show you the one that I just got, I'm going to show you Kelp Song, her first collection, which surprised me. It's a narrative collection, narrative poetry. The poems themselves are lovely, but there is a strong narrative arc going through. A lot of dealing with loss, also a lot of kind of contemporary street magic going on. So if you're interested in street magic and, or what's it called? Urban magical realism, is that? But absolutely such a lovely collection. I really enjoyed this. And I really like her poetry. So this next cover is one of my other favorite covers. Who drew this? One moment. I'm gonna find out who drew it first. Feliza Sarah drew this cover, and this is one of the most beautiful covers. Look at that. That is stunning. This is called Urchin Heart by Cecily Klingenberg. And I'm really excited. I'm excited to see whether or not this one is as narrative as her other one. Oh, there's pictures inside. Oh wait, that was a little graphic. Let's not get our channel flagged. Let's find something pretty. There are pictures inside. These are beautiful. I'm really excited. I really liked her last collection, so I'm excited about this one. And there's a lot of pictures in here. I got a couple books that have pictures in them. Very interesting. I tend to go for this type of cover, this water painted kind of colorful cover, like Drumbeat for the Mending. I have another one here. This one I didn't buy recently, so I didn't include it, but this nice watercolor cover. Burn This House by Kelly Davio. I really liked this one as well. This one I picked up at Powell's in Portland. Those are the collections that I bought so far. This is my haul. Let me hold them all up for you. Ta-da! My haul! Yay! So hopefully I'll be reading through those soon, and I'll tell you what I think. I especially want to compare Milk and Honey to The Princess Saves Herself in this one. Mainly because I thought people were comparing them, and then it turned out to be so polarizing. I was shocked. And again, I'm not totally sure if that's the type of poetry that I'll be really interested in, but I want to give it a shot. I want to try it. And to get on my soapbox a little bit, I think it's really important for poets to support other poets. Like I said, 3 out of 5 collections that I've bought recently are by self-published poets. I think especially for poets, self-publishing is a really good avenue, and I think it's really important that we support and read each other, especially really fantastic poets like the ones that I just showed. Cecilia Klingenberg and Elizabeth McNamara. I so enjoyed their first collections that I'm really excited for these next ones, and I highly recommend you guys go check them out as well. There are a lot of really good self-published poets that I think people should give them a chance. A lot of self-published poets will put their poems out there on Tumblr or on their own websites, and you can check them out and see if you like them. And if you like a couple of the poems, pick up someone's collection. I know that poetry books can seem a bit expensive. Sometimes a 50-page poetry book will be running you like $12, and that feels like a lot. It is kind of a lot. A full-length poetry book tends to roughly be in the $10 range. And I know a lot of them can be more expensive than that. I think I bought Sarah Kaye's book on sale because usually it's pretty pricey. Usually it's $15 and I think I got it for $10. So I know poetry books can be really expensive, but part of it's a supply and demand issue, I think. Part of it is that not a lot of poetry books get bought and poets are really trying to make a living. But if you love a poet, if you've heard their work before, go ahead and support them. Buy their book, see what you think, and I'm really looking forward to reading these, and I'll keep you guys posted on what I think, and I will see you next Saturday. Bye!